A big good evening and welcome to the latest edition of Mancunia TV, Manchester's first, foremost and premier grassroots rock and roll television channel at its absolute finest. We're live once again from the Mancunia Arts Centre. I'm Dave Sweetmore. I'm going to be talking to you all the way through the night, and as always, we've got a brilliant lineup of guests for you. Coming up later on, we've got live music from DEH-YEY and the Notion. We've got Leon the Pig Farmer, as always, with his spoken word corner. He's going to be introducing you to Cherelle, and you're going to absolutely love her. MC Tunes and the man behind Mancunia Arts Centre, Anton Pell. We're going to be catching up with them. It's 4 years since we started this in its original format, so we're going to find out what's going to be happening for the next 4 years, and we're going to be talking to a guest of ours who's been on in the past, Mick Middles, a great author and a great fan of Manchester music as well. And of course, as always, we've got a studio audience, which, if you would like to be with us next time, I'll be telling you a little bit later on how you can get involved with that. But to start us off for the latest edition of Mancunia TV, live here from the Mancunia Arts Centre, this is Nico Harmony.
Searching Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was called Roaming Around, and this one's called Sing So Sweetly.
Thanks, Nico.
Thank you very much.
So let's hear it. A massive thank you with a band for the brilliant Nico Harmony. You are watching Mancunia TV live from the Mancunia Arts Centre, slap bang in the centre of Manchester. We've got more live music a little bit later on, but now it's time to welcome a guest who was with us a couple of years ago in our original format of MMTV. It's his first time of joining us here at Mancunia TV. Studio audience, let's hear it for Mick Middles. Good to see you. Listen, since we last saw you at what was MMTV, Mancunia TV, you've been a really, really busy man. For those that perhaps aren't familiar with your work, tell us a little bit about your background as an author.
Yeah, okay. Well, I started doing a fanzine, writing a fanzine in 1977, beginning with friend Martin Ryan, who's the editor, and in those days, fanzines now are like podcasts, but in those days, it was a bit more physical than that. So we literally bought a printing machine from an antique shop, took it home, and it was spilling green ink all over the place, and on the bus, literally on the bus. It's a bloody great thing. We had to churn it out, each page, and it took 3 months to do one issue, so we only did 3 issues, and they were terrible. But you go to the ranch bar, you go to Electric Circus, and within weeks you'd know everyone like this. It's like this. It was real. Everyone knew everyone.
Great community.
Yeah. Steve Shire was selling Shire Talk behind the bar at the ranch bar. So what you did, you took your fanzine, you had 30 copies of it to sell, but you actually passed it on to people who had other fanzines to sell, who gave it back to you. So you came back with 30 different fanzines from various cities. And that's how I started. We only did 3 issues, but I sent one to Sounds, and they actually responded, because you know, these magazines were selling 200,000 a week. You know, I mean, you can't even compute that now. I think Mojo does about 9,000 now. That's a month. That's the difference. Right. And they said, well, we need people. We're in London. We don't know what's going on in Manchester. You know, we need people up there, kids up there. So you got a job of reviewing bands going to, so it's a dream, you know. When we had the Gas, it was called Gassed Up, our fanzine, and we had, we were lucky enough, we had Paul Morley writing as Modest Young, Kevin Cummins was the photographer, although the editor, Martin, would actually take Kevin's pictures and draw them, much to Kevin's angst. So it got him out of copyright, you see.
So even back then, there were some names knocking about that we've all become familiar with over the years that were involved with it. You continued writing loads of great stuff and really, really busy as an author over the years. We've got you down tonight to talk about a couple of things you've done recently. A couple of weeks ago, the latest edition of Record Collector came out. It was a special about the Fall, which you were heavily involved with and had a connection with the Fall and Marquis Smith.
Yeah, absolutely. They're so weird seeing that in W.H. Smith's whole Record Collector based on the Fall. It's like a book based, but there are 14 or 15 books on the Fall now, you know, and it's bewildering, you know. And they're all good, I think, you know. And Record Collector came back and said, well, you're right about those early, you know, those early times. So I'd done bits of it in that, but it was like, they were like complete outsiders to Manchester. They didn't really like anyone. But the first Fall were Mark Smith and Martin Brammer, the first Fall. And I remember driving to Mark's flat. It was a flat that Mark used to live in with Una, and then something happened. And as we were driving on the pavement, there was an argument between Una Baines and Martin Brammer. And I thought, they look like a couple. I don't know whether they were or they weren't. I don't care. But they went on to form the Blue Orchids, which was something's changing here. So we ended up at the flat, and Mark was there with Kay Carroll. He became the manager. His girlfriend then became the manager. She was older, she was wise, she was feisty, she would have to be. Things were changing, and I couldn't see what was happening. But what it was Mark wrestling control. It was the first album, Live at the Witch Trials, a great album, but that was Mark and Martin's album more than anyone else. You know, after that, it was always Mark, and Mark would have firm control. Now, I was a friend of Mark's for 27 years. I mean, literally, until we did a book on Mark, and then everything changed. It's like becoming a member of the Fall. I took Mark and Eleanor, his wife at the time, to, I thought this was a good idea, to a hotel in the Lake District in Grasmere. Because I knew Mark hated countryside and green things, you know.
So you thought you'd take him to the countryside, yeah?
Well, that's right. So I thought, well, good idea to get him out of his comfort zone of Prestwich, you know, and took him there. And it went very, very well. And he was very friendly, and that's all right. The weird things happened. Do you want to know a couple of the weird things that happened in Grasmere?
Absolutely, we do, yeah.
Yeah, well, first of all, we're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's no town, there's no shops, and it was like 11:15 at night. He said, I'm going to go out and get some fags. I said, Mark, you're not going to get any fags at this time of night. But he went out, and he came back an hour and a half later, it's like 1:30 now, with some fags. God knows where he got them from. And he said, I saw this Druid circle, and I watched this Druid circle. He told me the story of this Druid circle. Bear in mind, he probably had 2 bottles of whiskey by this time, you know. I don't know. But he also, the very next night, I was sat in the bar with Mark. It was about 5, 6, 7 hours of interviews, and it went okay. And Mark said, right, and he just stood up. Stand up, Eleanor. And they walked out, and I didn't see them for the rest of the night. Oh, where did they go? And they went to a bar in Ambleside, which is like 6, 7 miles away. And they went downstairs, where he'd never been there in his life before. He said, I knew there were there were people out that would like me down there, and it was full of squaddies. Squaddies like me, because they listened to us on John Peel, on the World Service. That's true. And they all bought, basically, he knew that there were squaddies there for some hours, who were buying beers all night, and that's what he boiled down to. But how did he know that? And I do think there was something very, very, very weird about Mark, that he certainly had an extra sense that most of us don't have, or something. It was lacking in other sort of niceties that we generally have with people. You could not call him a pleasant person when he's round. Anyway, but when I wrote the book, after I wrote the book, it was like I'd become a member of the band. He wanted to write the book, and it's all like that. And once you become a member of the band, then you're away. Because I've been in situations like this. The band would be sat here, and I'd walk in, and Mark would turn the seat around so his back's to the band and start chatting to you. Stuff like that. In one of the pubs in Prestwich, which was it's quite a rough area at times, I sat with him at about 4:15 on a Friday afternoon, and a work gang was sat opposite us. And Mark was sat there with his fags, and one of the gang said, "Oh, can I borrow a match, mate?" I go, yeah, all right, cock, About half an hour later, go, "Oh, can I have a match, mate?" I go, "Yeah, I've thought about buying your own," and I don't know how he survived. I don't know how he survived, because he could be. He could be. I loved him dearly, but he could be the rudest man on the planet. But after the book, we never really spoke again.
Why was that? Do you think it was like he'd got out of you what you wanted, or perhaps he didn't agree with something in the book?
I don't think he ever read it. I don't think he ever intended. No, I don't think he did. I dropped it opposite house, and like that print out. And he gave me the printout back, and he hadn't even, I could tell, you can tell something. I don't think he ever even read it. I don't think he had a clue. So I have absolutely no idea. But Mark played games, and that became part of what he did. And he was a genius. I mean, I would say the first half of his recordings, which is about 25 albums, and going out and were, a lot of those are absolute classics. It faded towards the end, but, as people get older, they change,
So right in the article you did for the Record Collector recently about the Fall, did it bring back a lot of good memories for you?
It did. Seeing that Record Collector, more than the other book. I mean, there's some great books in the Fall. I'm not knocking anything. Some very, very good, the Hanley Brothers books, and loads of books. And but seeing them doing that, and hearing from Gran, worked for Record Collector about 10 years really, and then coming back, you must do something on the Fall for this. And seeing people like Everett True and people like that writing, and it's going through, and it's I don't know if you've seen it at all, but it's a tremendous, it did bring it all back, because because of the situation with Mark, and I didn't go to his funeral, and I never really, I mean, I interviewed his mum for the book, and and she was lovely, but I couldn't go, and I kind of stopped listening to them for a full 10 years, but this kind of brought it back now. And it's amazing for me to see these bunch of complete outsiders actually becoming the mainstream in a weird sort of way.
And no doubt with that magazine that you're involved with back out on the shelves and stuff like that, I'm sure it'll introduce the Fall to a new generation of fans as well. So that is available now, the new Record Collector special on the Fall that Mick's featured in. As well as that, another interesting thing you've got coming up at the moment is you've done the sleeve notes for the latest Cherry Red box set, which is Hacienda 82. It's a collection of 60 tracks that were played in the first year of the Hacienda. Now, before we talk about that, you were at the Hacienda opening night.
Yeah, I was.
Tell us about that now, what you remember about it.
I will tell you, absolutely I will, because you walked in, and the legendary opening night still smelt of paint because it hadn't dried yet, and the paint was running out as you were walking in. It was that bad. But there's a very famous photograph that Ben Kelly, the Hacienda designer, took. Of a group of people stood around the bar, and I'm one of them, just by chance. But weirdly, in a white shirt and a little tie, and like a Rumbelows sales, a young trainee salesman at Rumbelows, if anyone knows what Rumbelows was. But looking at that picture now, it's like the most well, none of them were overpossessed by sartorial elegance, let's say. It's a little like a bunch of FC United fans, actually.
I dare say it's become quite iconic, that. When you walked in at Hacienda, 1982, the opening night, did you have a feeling what a massive part of Manchester it was going to become?
No, absolutely not. No, this is the point. I mean, what I think Cherelle are doing, actually, is this is Hacienda 82, the first one, which is like 60 tracks. They're going to do an 83, 84, 85, and it'll get to the Manchester days, by which time, I jumped ship anyway, and will do now. But in 82, no one had a clue about anything. They just opened this club, which was a yachting marina, and it still was. The bar downstairs, the Kim Philby bar, was where they floated the yachts. They hadn't really changed anything like that. The only thing they changed was the bar at one end, and for some weird reason, which no one's ever explained, there was the stage was across one side, so the sound just bounced and bounced and bounced. But typically factory, when it came to like doing raves, this worked because it gave it like a fuzzy effect. That people celebrated. I don't know. But the first night, and no one's admitted to doing this, the first person, do you know who the first person to appear at the factory was, the Hacienda was?
No, go on.
Bernard Manning. And he walked on, and he could smell this paint, this fresh paint. He looked at all this, and the maple dance floor, and his first line was, I played some shitholes in my time. And actually, we all hated Bernard Manning, but I don't know why he was the first one. The second band was ESG from New York, right, who were pushed on by the mum, and like nearly nervous. And we were playing the band on the wall, I think, in the spring, I believe, right, coming back. So, but that was a game. But no, the thing about it is, and I've got a list here somewhere, the first year, no one knew what it was going to become, if it was going to become anything. And the music was so diverse. You see, it was before the days that Mike Pickering would bring in Chicago house music or hip-hop from New York. Yeah. So it was just a club, and people saw what's happening. And the stuff they made, what's that? Cherelle went very... I interviewed Hugh and Clark, who was one of the early DJs, a lovely guy. He said, what was the point in that? Nobody told us. We just went on and played records. And just a little list of what I played in that first year. Suicide, Ludus, Soft Cell, ABC, Jar Wobble, Grandmaster Flash, Gregory Isaacs, Susan the Banshees, Quando, Temptations, The Stooges, Stockholm Monsters, Shalimar, The Members, and Annette Peacock.
So very much the music that was around, wasn't it, though, at the time? It was, is that the kind of stuff that's on this album that's come out?
Not really, no, because it wasn't... part of that is about a third of the stuff they played was 82 stuff. So you got ABC and stuff like that, and most of it was from before. So the Temptations, Ball of Confusion, Edwin Starr, War, I say Gregory Isaacs, Night Nurse, all sorts of stuff. It's all a big mix, and there was no... And also, obviously I have to point out that nobody actually went to that centre in 1982. It was a disaster, and they lost thousands every single... They opened every night, bizarrely, and they lost thousands every night, and it was like an absolute disaster. And Mike Pickering, a lovely chap, who later became a big star, of course, but his thing was, I book bands before anyone knows they're famous, and they play 3 days before they become famous. So he booked like Culture Club 3 days before they went on Top of the Pops. Now, Mike, you should book them 3 days after they go on Top of the Pops, not before, but I'm in there, I know who's going to be big. And it was like that. It was like a really weird thing, and no one knew what.
Do you think things like that are part of the reason why it became such an iconic and important club, because it was ahead of everything else?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's hard to say, I think the next year, 83 was more about a New Order toured America in 82. In 83, and I went over them in 83 and saw a bit of it. It was like the Danceteria and Funhouse and all these people, and it was like really, really picking up over there. And that filtered back, and it started to filter from there. But there's also big goth nights and stuff like that, And I remember Tony Wilson once sitting down and going, I've got to put these. I can't stand this band, but I've got to put them on because it fills the club on a Saturday night. It was Simple Minds. But I actually like Simple Minds, to be honest, but he hated them.
Is that album available now then, Hacienda 82?
So is it?
Is the box set?
It's out. You know what? They don't tell you anything. You have to do sort of sleeve notes with bits on each band. So it's quite a lot of work. Hookie's done the intro. I will tell you that the first song was. I shouldn't say this, but the first song was going to be Temptation, which there isn't a more 82 track than New Order's Temptation. But New Order wouldn't allow it because Hookie's doing the intro, which I find a bit pathetic. But it's up to them. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not getting into that. But yeah, no, it's out in November. And I think I've spoken to my wife Vicky here before, and we thought, well, we're going to have an 82 Hacienda night, or whatever the music's like. You could just put that on, play it through. 'Cause I think most people with box sets, they don't actually listen to the stuff. You know? Yeah. They read this stuff and they look at it and they put it on the shelf. You know.
So Hacienda 82, the Cherry Red box set featuring notes by Mick, comes out in November. Before we let you go, what does the future hold for Mick Middles? What's next?
Oh, God, I've absolutely no idea. But it's great to be here because it reminds me of the Tube. But the difference is, I don't know if anybody went to the actual Tube in Newcastle. The Tube wasn't real. It was fake. And it made it look like a real sort of club.
This is real, isn't it? This is real, isn't it? This.
Yeah,
nothing gets more real than this.
Can't get more real than this. Right.
All the work that Mick does is available, of course, online. The Record Collector Edition, the Fall Special, is available now. And the Hacienda 82 box set comes out in November. But once again, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us on Mancunia TV. Mick Middles! A massive thank you to Mick Middles. What an amazing man. One of them guests that we could quite easily talk to for hours and hours about the stuff he's done over the years. You are watching Mancunia TV from Mancunia Arts Centre. Still loads to get through in the show tonight. Next up, it's one of our regular features here on Mancunia TV. We'd like to introduce you now with his special guest to the one and only Leon the Pig Farmer.
How are we doing? Yeah, for those that don't know me, I'm Leon the Pig Farmer, Jack Horner. I'm the resident spoken word, and I bring you someone to do a 10-minute set on every show. But before that, I indulge you and just with a little bit of my spoken word. And when this one goes out, it's the week before Remembrance Day. And being an ex-serviceman, I'm going to give you some, which is in my first book, Talking Myself Out of Trouble, which is about being an ex-squaddy and being absolutely fucked in the head. So bear with me. I was stranded on a newfound path. It's a short, sharp reminder to the aftermath. The helicopters hovered in burnt peat hills. Let's stop the toxic, traumatic treadmill. The castle and the quarry to the reservoir, reminiscent of the Romeos in South Armagh. And I drop and I drift to a rancid reflection. Time to decide with identity correction. The smokescreen mirrors and a voice to muzzle, and the jigsaw pieces will solve the puzzle. I look straight down and the boots are brown. I pivot to a lens, no sniper found. I handrail fences free from wires. No three-coloured cloth to fuel the fire. I'm hands-free, not shackled to metal, and the weight on my shoulders is light as a petal. There's no chimp on my back to make me crack, no smile from a joker to cut the slack, no wait out call from another mum's sons, and the hills don't have eyes. I'm back to old wooden ones. See, I escaped the portal of travelling in time. There's no contact call that's going to blow my mind. I look to the pike and the pots and pans. No need for Winthrop around these farms. You see, I'm staring to the white rose land. No threat or thirst or hate demand. I drop my shoulder and I jump the ditch, and I murder the miles and I forget the itch, because I'm safe in the thought of the pissed on ashes. I challenge the ground and the Indian's feathers. The skeleton ghost that turned me to stone has given me the keys to live and learn. Because I offended the law's links of steel with a bridal mask suppressing me squeal. The cat of nine tails for thieves in gangs. The candlelight crevice offered one last chance. The birch whip's broken at the scrubbing block. A silent system at the night watch clock. Heraldic symbols of a birdfoot sign and the skylight view for the moon at night. So punish, redeem, or set me free from the solitary state penitentiary. They branded me left arm on a stone cold floor. Smashed the brass bell against the riveted door. The turnkey of time and the felon of the free. The treadwheel of the labours against bars of disbelief. The barricaded walls and the barbed wire fence, the sandstone halls and the critically condemned. They threw me into the pigeon room, a desperate dungeon for this dogged mule. False failures form foundation. I'm the yeomanry of new revelations. So let's turn the key, a life sentence and 3 cycles complete. I've jumped the bar to forge a freedom. I'll take my lion's share of this uncaged kingdom. I no longer deal in the grape and grain. I fall, I float among the crashing waves. Debt accrued to test this sanity. Lessons learned, I could never beat gravity. Thank you very much. My next guest for this month is part of Poetry Place, and she's got a lot of other spoken word and literacy projects going on. This is my good friend, Cherelle Ann. Please give her a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The first piece I'm going to do is about getting up more times than you fall down. This is called I Fall. I've always been a faller. As a kid, I fell from trees, always climbing as high as I could to reach the top branches and leaves. I had my favorite trees to climb, them ones in Omo Park. I loved them ones there. I knew them like the back of my palm, and still I'd fall. I couldn't tell you how many times I fell from those branches or held on for dear life when we'd trespass through the school after hours and in the summers. Those railings, I fell from them a few times too. Ripped holes in the knees of my jeans and ruined a few tees. My mum would go mad, but it was worth it for a kick around with the lads. I fell from grace when I grew up too soon. I saw too much and heard too much until I learned to keep my mouth shut. I fall in 5-inch heels in a drunken haze, and I make my way home full of bruises and memories. I never fall gently and land soft. I fall hard and fast, and usually before I know what's happening, I hit the ground with a thud, bruise my ego and blush. I fall often. I fall freely. I fall because I take risks and ride the waves. I fall back into old habits on bad days. I fall because I don't know any other way. I fall and I get back up. Every single day, I fall like Alice in her descent. Curiouser and curiouser, I'm free falling on a whim. I fall and I fall, I bend and bruise but never break. I fell into a no man's land between love and numbness and pain. I fell into the abyss and clawed my way back more times than I care to remember or count. I've fallen for lies. I fell into boyish pain-stricken eyes and I believed them. Time and time again, I fell into thorns of despair. They pierced through my skin, dug in deep under my flesh, and traveled all through me. I pulled them out one by one with my bare hands. The blood under my nail beds, it still stains. No amount of washing can get my hands clean. For the pain I allowed to be inflicted on me. Lack of boundaries made it so I couldn't see all the ways I allowed people to hurt me until I fell into a million pieces. I rearranged them and completed the puzzle of me. I've found the right fit, now I can fall free. I can skydive from 100,000 feet. No parachute, no wings, no hero. I saved me. Free falling in the freedom of just being. Free falling. And the cost, the person I was, it was all worth it for the woman I become. Free falling until the fear turns into exhilaration. Free falling, and I hope I never hit the ground again. I hope I never hit the ground again. Thank you. Thank you. This next piece is called The Healing. It's about motherhood and the highs and lows. Do you know how hard it is to heal? Within the treacle thickness of motherhood, the sticky sweetness of motherhood, the itchy, prickly fever of damages caused by unjust love, the going through the motions and holding it all together, only just the going through the motions and breaking on the floor of the bathroom while the taps run on full, the going through the motions till bedtime, when I can break without their loving little eyes on me, where I can break without having to consider what it means for them if they see. Do you know what it is to heal amongst the mists of motherhood with a heart wide open and filled with love? It's always having someone to hug and cheek-to-cheek contact when they sense you're not doing so good, and it's dancing to Disney songs every day, reliving my own childhood memories. It's the bright light at the end of the tunnel, the reason to get up and keep on going. This healing, It's for them too, to break the curse of generational wounds, to heal during motherhood isn't the easiest way, but it's better late than never at all. It's best they see me thrive after I fall. In my undoing, I wasn't always able to be exactly what they needed, but in my oneness, I'll show them what it is to be free. True, authenticity. They deserve the very best version of me, and so from now on, that's all I'll be, the highest vision of me. Thank you. Okay, this next piece I'm gonna do, I realized like earlier on this year, like love poetry is kind of my thing, so this is like one of the pieces where like everywhere I do it, it gets like a really good response and stuff. This is called By Design. I'm not easy. It takes work to be with me. I require more than the minimum amount of effort and consistency. I'm not talking about grand gestures and fancy gifts. He'd have to take some pressure off a bit. I'm healing, so we'd have to be patient and consciously doing the work, be meeting himself where I've met myself at, be finding his way in the world like that. He'd have to have a good heart, show kindness and a bright spark, know how to light up a room, how to hold court, and how to stand back and let me shine sometimes. Ideally, he'd be able to read my mind. He needs to know how to create worlds, or at least be open to figuring it out, and he should spend some of his time living in a bubble in a world of his own that I can try and map out. Find all of his hidden crevices and cracks and hold up a mirror to them all. Help him feel comfortable with it being like that. I want to be his safety. I want to hold space for him. Help him heal and figure out some things. He'll not be the jealous type. He should be sensitive and grind for his dreams. He'll be a good listener and conversationalist, and he'll get my humor even though it's shit. He'll adore me in that unquestionable way, and he'll tell me I'm beautiful, smart, strong, or brave, or amazing, or just remind me of something I've lived before, to shift the thoughts of doubt to ones that say, I'll get it done now. Whatever it is I'm needing to hear that day, he'll have a way of figuring out exactly what it's about and say what I need to hear to be okay. He won't chase clout. He'll never raise his voice or shout. He'll bring my femininity out. Reach parts of me no one else gets to see. He'll be generous with all things. The giving and receiving of love will never be rationed or withheld. He'll only want to build bonds together, get stronger together, make memories that linger. He'll open up. I won't feel misunderstood, emotionally mature. He'll know how to nurture, how to cultivate something safe, something healthy. He won't want for me to do the chasing. He will know how to take my breath away with a single look. He will read to me and he will hold me even when I'm hard to love. He will be grateful. He'll not keep his options open just in case there are better choices. It'll only ever be me he's wanting. He will know exactly what he found. It'll be undeniable. When we're around each other, it'll be in the air. Everyone can feel it, lights on full glare. Electric pulses will surge with each discreet touch. Close proximity would cause me to blush. If I could design a man that's made for me, I think that's exactly who it'd be. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cherelle. Tell us where we can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Cherelle. You can follow, I've got 2 poetry nights that I help host and curate. One of them is the Poetry Place, and the other one is Sensual Sundays. That's a new page, so follow that one. The first one's on Sunday, so yeah, come through.
Sunday on Sunday. Yeah. If you like poetry, come down to one of the most
Thank
soulful, talented poets in Manchester. 2 nights. Well, I'm now going to hand you back over to Dave, where we're just going to have a tiny little natter. So thank you to Cherelle.
Mancunia TV, let's hear it for Leon and, of course, Cherelle. Got that on it.
Yes. They get better every time.
That's it. We've got some live music coming up very soon from the Notion. But first of all, Leon, I was thinking before when you did your little bit at the beginning and you said that the first piece you did was out of your first book, I got thinking you've not actually brought a book out for about 2 weeks, so you must be due another one.
I am on cue, Segward. I've got a new book out. The first two, Don't Believe the Hype, was out from August, which is the political social ranting book. The first one's the mental health book around PTSD, serviceman, a social worker, which I do flog. But I've brought a kid's book out.
First of all,
Teddy Wacky Tales.
What's made you do this?
I got invited into Ashton-under-Lyne with Phantasmagoria to sit down with a group of kids, 6 till 10, and create, write, get stories, get them rhyming. And they gave me a load of material, and they thought I was talented, so they thought, I'll get you to make some poems about Teddy Wockies that are called Tinkle Winkle, Clangle Wangle, and all these. So literally, I've gone from punk poet to primary school preacher.
A lot of what you do is very hard-hitting and political and, stuff like that, very much grown-up type stuff. Doing your first ever book that was aimed for children, was that quite difficult?
Very difficult. I can't swear.
Is there any effing or jeffing in it?
There's no effing or jeffing. There's not even any see you next year. There's nothing. It's literally rhyming with kids and talking.
So let's have a look at this book, the new book you've got brought out, the one for children. When's this come out? When's this available?
I've got some copies. You can get it through me or Phantasmagoria, which is a CIC in Ashton-under-Lyne that I've been working with. They're a really good place. They do adult creativity, but mostly around kids and especially the school holidays. And they've got a travel emporium, so you can go back in time and go into some steampunk world. So
Leon the Pig Farmer, Jack Harney, you're with us every single edition of Mancunia TV, but of course you do so much yourself. If people want to find out more about what you do, and of course the 3 books you've got out now, where can they go?
Leon the Pig Farmer Facebook, Leon TPF Instagram, and Leon_Pig on Twitter. And I'm also, this is going out on the 4th, I'm at the Perat tomorrow with my band, The Dirt, which is with my wife, a psychedelic punk band, which we do. And then a single coming out in a couple
I'll see you next weekend at the Shine On Festival.
And I'm at the Shine On as well, performing on the 11th on Armistice Day. So, yeah, I'm performing with Happy Monday, Stereo MCs, EMF, and a few other bands on the Friday. Well, listen, thank you as always. Another brilliant guest. Our next show, by the way, which we're going to be filming at Mancunia Arts Centre on the last Wednesday of November, is an unbelievable lineup, and you could be part of the studio audience. We'll tell you how you could do that in a bit. But studio audience, let's hear it once again with his guests every month. Jack Horner, a.k.a. Leon the Pig Farmer. Okay, it is time for some more live music. Another one of our bands now to bring to you here on Mancunia TV, here at Mancunia Arts Centre. This is The Notion.
Just before we go, we're playing our biggest headline at the Deck Institute in the 19th of November, so if you like what you hear, we'd love to see you there in a couple of weeks. Still a few tickets left. Cheers to Anton for having us. We're going to leave you this one. It's a new one. It's called Slow Down. Weave the Notion. Enjoy the rest of your night.
When you're born a fight and everyone's carefree, far to go from this place I know so easily. Question all of my thoughts of what I feel is real. That was you. I was down.
Notion. See you soon.
Studio audience, let's hear a massive round of applause for the Notion. You are watching Mancunia TV live from Mancunia Arts Centre. Just a little bit of a heads up. The next time we do the recording for this show will be on the last Wednesday in November, and it is an amazing lineup. Playing on the next edition of Mancunia TV are going to be Flechettes, Stanleys, Hollows. We're going to be joined by Gaz Whelan from the Happy Mondays and Graham Massett from 808 State. If you want to be in the studio with your audience, it's dead easy. All you need to do is follow Mancunia TV and Mancunia Arts Centre across the socials and turn up. Simple as that, from 7 o'clock the last Wednesday in November. Mega lineup, and I can see what's going on here out the corner of my eye. Our next guests, I'm trying to be proper here, mate. Our next guests are the men behind Mancunia Arts Centre, MC Tunes and Anton Pell.
Yeah, man.
So, Anton, let's start with you. A couple of weeks ago, it was 4 years since we did the initial launch of what was MMTV, which has now become Mancunia TV. When we started 4 years ago, did you think we'd, not even be in the same place, be in a new building, and the show would be going stronger and stronger, 4 years on?
No, usually my projects last about a week and I move on to something else. But I remember when I had the idea, I had my old studio, and remember the backhanders, they were rehearsing there. So we were filming. But the rehearsal sessions were just turning into sessions on Friday and Saturday nights. And they wanted I was trying to get them popular again, and they were, but he had too many songs about masturbation, don't you, Cherelle? I don't know, you told me that, did you, Sparky? Anyway, so I was filming them, putting live streams on, thought, I've got the infrastructure here, we've got the property, we've got the equipment, and then thought, I need a host, though, to make it brilliant. So I went to Bowlers one night and walked on stage with him, and I want Dave Sweetmore. Me and Dave Sweetmore will make this great TV show.
We've had a brilliant 4 years, and then last year we moved from, the old MMTV studios and moved here to Mancunia Arts Centre, where we were joined by the one and only Mancunia legend, MC Tunes. How did you end up getting involved from MMTV to Mancunia TV?
Wait. I just need, what was that story? What was that story then? Who wrote songs about masturbation?
Chaddy from Backhanders.
Fucking hell. Right, all right, sorry, Dave. I just needed to clear that up.
They never made it.
Rolling.
Be on Spotify in a bit, finding them. How did when we moved over here to Mancunia Arts Centre, which we're going to talk more about in a minute, obviously you became a lot more involved with Mancunia TV then. What was it that made, you've been there and done it, what was it that made you think Mancunia TV, what a great idea?
Well, I mean, I got involved with Anton because of the Arts Centre, the Mancunia Arts Centre, and the reason is because he had a really good business plan, and I'm a bit of a retard, so I went, all right, as long as what we do, what we need to be able to do is hire this place out to people who can't afford to hire a place like this. And we provide the drum kit, the back line, all they got to do is turn up with the guitars. So that's why I got involved, because that was a good idea for me.
You're a big believer in it and all that.
Yeah, shit business plan, but great idea.
For those that watch Mancunia TV, and we're at Mancunia Arts Centre every week, tell people, for those that aren't aware, what is Mancunia Arts Centre?
Well, it kind of changes week in, week out, but initially, I used to own a nightclub. You scruffy fucker.
It changes week in and week out.
It does, like your
Jesus
pants.
Christ, thanks for telling us.
Anyway, so yeah, I had this idea years ago when I owned a nightclub. I was a concert promoter since the age of 11 and put gigs on. And I got this idea, your heart rules your head. I always thought as a kid, if you own my own club venue by the time I'm 40, I made it. And I thought, don't matter where it is, Wolverhampton, Steve. All right, Steve. Anyway, so I thought, if I got this venue, and I got a venue, I got a nightclub when I was about in my early 30s, and my heart ruled my head. It was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, but that's the good thing about you, Anton. Your heart rules your head on matters of music and,
Boy,
you know what I mean? So, God loves a trier, right? You know what I mean? And that's why I got involved, because he's tried this thing so many times, and not to no real fault of his own. He's come... not real fault of his own. He's you know, he's had to start again more times than me, and you got to respect
I
that.
always remember, and he probably won't remember this, I always remember you saying to me, there's two kinds of people in this world, doers and dreamers, and I'm a doer. And they were your words. I always remember that.
Givers and takers.
There is, no, not even that, doers and dreamers. Some people will tell you an idea and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And they're just fucking dreaming. Some people don't dream about it, they just get on and do it, you know what I mean?
Tunes, if people want to come to Mancunia Arts Centre and get involved, what can they come here and do, and how do they get involved?
Well, I mean, it's basically set up so anything can happen, you know, the way we've laid it out. It's designed for small plays, rehearsals, people that want to write scripts. During the day is basically what we're trying to promote.
How important is it that Manchester has somewhere like this?
Yoga. Get a few old birds here with the maps at. You know what I mean? Well, you know, they can plug into the hi-fi, listen to fucking Saturday Night Fever and get their relaxation on.
I've known him a long time and I've always wondered what was on in his head.
£7 an hour.
He had this idea. He said, "We're in the red lad." Look at him with his cheeky vimto. He had this idea. He said, "I know what we could do. We can do a drop-in centre."
Could have fucking been a right disaster, that. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Nothing. I can't even get a word in with this twat.
No, but the idea is an honest idea from a really good place. And I got involved because the way he feels about it, you can't not want to fucking join in.
I agree
you know
with
what
that,
I mean?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Mancunia Arts Centre, we've mentioned it before, we do this every single, you know, we pre-record it the last Wednesday of every month. Do come down, it's a great studio audience of like-minded, creative people. No, not yet. I've not finished with you yet. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. One thing is, Anton, 4 years of MMTV, then Mancunia TV. What happens next? Where do we go from here?
I don't have a fucking clue, to be honest.
Thank you. Anton Pell.
No, we do. We do have a clue. Don't listen to him.
We just keep the doors open. But that's the hardest thing, keeping the doors open every week. Keeping you lot coming, which is good. This is a Wednesday night. Do you know what I mean? You're all here on a Wednesday night because of a little idea I had in my head one day, 4 years ago. And that's fucking brilliant to me.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, the important things about MMTV, right, Mancunia TV, is it's a way that we can sort of fund the low prices that we work at. I mean, it's a shit business plan, but if we put on events like this, you know, that sort of keeps us honest. Forget him. I'm telling you.
And do you know what? One thing is, a lot
I would
of
be
things
involved if it wasn't that payoff.
A lot of things like this do pop up, but you know, I'm proud to have been part of MMTV and Mancunia TV. 4 years on, still here. Not many others could say that. We're going to be like top of the pops.
What others? Nobody else does it. We're fucking breaking
Right,
ground,
before we let you
man.
go and bring some more music on, get some more live music on. First of all, Tunes, we've got to mention, you've got an EP out.
Yes, I do, yes I do.
We've heard it 6 times tonight.
It's a 6-track EP. It's called Reparation. It's highly fucking entertaining.
And is it available yet?
Yes, it is on every platform.
And what about you, Anton? You're a painter. A lot of people commented on your paintings over the last...
Yeah, that wasn't him. That wasn't him. That was his daughter. She's only 7.
I painted that from the show that he did in 1976.
His daughter painted it a couple of months back.
And then John Robb came in and called it Transvestite Tony. But you know what?
Hey, well,
I got into music
that's
because
how
of
he's
this
seen
guy.
it. What
I'll
you
be
gonna
honest, he's related to me in a fucking roundabout way. My godmother, Pat, from Marple, is his cousin. So when we were kids, everyone was like, famous Tony in the family, famous Tony. I just buzzed off the fucking fact that he was the music side of stuff. And then when I got older, I read Bez and Sean's book. And they used to say stories about how he'd drive around in his
Have you got a book out?
Or his Jaguar with a briefcase full of drugs. And then I think back to when I was a kid and thought, I remember that briefcase.
You've got a book out. So,
anyway,
anybody who cares...
Now we know your family story. Tell us about the book. Tell us about the book.
He's got a book out. You've got to learn... You see, learn something from fucking... My guy here, Jack Horner, he'll tell you about promoting a fucking book. Come on, let's have it right.
He never misses a trick, him, does he? Fucking Jesus.
Take a leaf out of his book, Anson. Come on.
I should do. I'd sell more. But
Anyway, about this book.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Buy it.
What's it called? Where can you get it?
It's called The Life and Times of a Grassroots Promoter, but roots is spelled different. It's a play of words. Everyone messages me saying, you spelled roots wrong. I'm like, no, I haven't. It's an inroad, it's a road, it's root.
And can you see yourself writing any more books? Maybe one for the kids?
He's going to write mine.
Yeah, I did think about that. I thought about writing kids'
gonna write my book.
inspirational books about some cool rock star.
I swear it.
And inspire kids, but I don't really have any inspiration.
Life and Times of a White Rapper. Life and Times of the Whitey Rap Star.
My kids call him the Cringe MC.
He's writing it. Swear to God.
Perhaps that could be the name of your next book.
They love
him. They love his dog more.
I can see it all happening in lights.
Mancunia TV, it's 4 years since we started doing this. Loads of people thank us for what we do and all that kind of stuff. But it's these two men behind the scenes that do it. Let's hear it, studio audience, MC Tunes and Anton Pell.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming all every week.
I could see a feature film coming out of this at some point. A massive thank you to the lads. And like I say, Mancunia TV, we broadcast it. We record this the last Wednesday of every month here at Mancunia Arts Centre. Do come down and join us. The next one we're going to be filming is the last Wednesday in November. Our guests are going to be Stanley's, Hollows, Flechettes. We're going to be joined by Gaz Whelan from the Happy Mondays and Graham Massett from 808 State. Tonight, though, watching MMTV, Mancunia TV, thank you for joining us. Please share this right across the socials. On behalf of all the team here, a massive thank you to Cherelle, Mick, the Notion, Nico Harmony, and of course all of us that work on this amazing programme. Thank you for watching and supporting this. I've been Dave Sweetmore, and to finish, we're going to hand you over to our final band for this edition of Mancunia TV. This is DEH-YEY!
Thank you, Woody.